Ah, we're back.
We're back.
I think we're back.
Are we back?
This is why I started giving out the live page for my channel, which that way, because if you schedule a live, you give out a special live link, and then if something technical happens, you have to give people a different link. So I started giving everybody just the basic live stream page, so that no matter what I live stream, that's the page that you go to. Hey, is everybody there? We I don't know, there's a lot of construction here in the plaza, and sometimes I think the internet, there's some things wacky with the internet, and it looks like we went out for a minute or two, but we are back on. Hey, Deb's Craft Corner. We had some technical difficulties, but we are back. Glad to see you.
Back and streaming.
Yeah. All right. I think we're set to go. So Sarah is here. If you just joined us, we're Sarah from Craft Habit Raleigh, and this is Kelly from paperbeadrollers.com. And Sarah is making us some paper bead jewelry. I gave her a big old stash of paper beads, and she is being creative on the fly.
Excited. We've made. So I started out making this like tassel necklace with a tassel from our store and some leather and this really gorgeous big old rolled bead, and then started digging through and made these earrings. I really love this conical shape, so I put these together, these little dangly babies, and now I'm working on a more involved project. I'm working with I'm using all the same shape of bead, but I'm going to change up the colors. I'm going to have to dig through and find some more brights, make kind of a rainbowy bracelet. And what I'm doing is I'm just adding some seed beads on either side. That helps because with the paper beads, the holes are large, which is really great for when you're working with leather, if you want to put them on chain. But sometimes when you're working with findings, they're too skinny, so they fall off. So I'm adding little seed beads as sort of placeholders to keep things in place. I'm switching up the gold and the silver. The gold are a little bit larger, so they're holding on the bigger beads. And you know what? I like a mix of metals, so that's what we're doing. And I've been working with this tool we have called the one-step looper.
Which is one of my very favorite tools
one
ever.
Of Kelly's favorite tools.
That's because I have trouble doing loops manually by myself. I need to come and learn from Craft Habit the best way to do loops manually. I've messed them up plenty of times.
It's just practice, honestly. Like that's one of the things about any fine motor skill is I can teach you how I do it, but eventually you're going to do it enough times that you're going to figure out which way your hands want to bend. Like I have certain ways that I hold things, and like I'm more likely to turn my pliers and hold my findings straight, but I'm going to do it the other way around. It just sort of like everyone's got their own
their
own way of
little
doing it.
twist
So
to
yeah,
it.
it's just sort of like doing it enough times till you figure out, oh, this is the way that works for me the most.
Hi, Celia. You're welcome. Thanks for coming. Yeah, it's the same way with the rolling. Like, people will ask me, because I tend to roll towards me when I roll the beads, and people will say, well, does it matter if you roll, like, towards you or away from you? And I'm like, no, it really doesn't. And I've found that it depends on where my light source is.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because when I roll, like, in my studio at home, I have light all around me because I have, the lights set up for recording. But when I'm down on the couch watching TV at night rolling, the light source is to my right. And so I have to roll a little differently because the shadow on the ridges of the paper throws my eye off. So I hold it differently so that I can roll straight.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's weird. And I never thought about it until somebody asked me that. And I was like, actually.
Yeah, it's just that thing where, everyone gets it their own way.
Yeah.
And then when you've done it for so long, it's hard to describe how to do it.
I know, right? You're like,
Yes, this is why everyone should appreciate teachers. Teaching is a skill.
Yeah, it really is.
Being able not just describe what you do, but like describe it 3 different ways for 3 different people.
Yeah.
That is not easy.
Well, and I noticed from teaching the rolling classes too, like some people are very particular with how they roll their beads. Like they want every layer to be lined up exactly right on the pin.
Yes,
and if it's not, they will unroll it and start it over, and they want to be very particular. And then some people are like, whatever, they roll it super fast and they straighten it up after they pull it off the pin.
Yeah.
And neither way is wrong. Like both ways come up with beautiful paper beads. It's just about how they like to do it.
Yeah, one thing I try to start all my classes with is my one promise is that it is not going to be perfect.
That's a good.
It literally
That's a good promise.
Cannot be perfect. And I do warn my perfectionists, this is a 2-hour class. So we're going to start it out. You're going to make some mistakes, and that's okay. And then when you go home and practice it, you can take as long as you want. One thing I teach here is our embroidery classes. And I want to cover, 5 or 6 stitches in the class. But I know that if everyone is trying to be perfect about it, we're not going to get through.
Oh, no.
I actually do say, you can't make tiny stitches in this class. You can go home and make tiny stitches. But if we're going to get anywhere, you got to make some bigger stitches. And also bigger stitches is easier to learn, the concept. And you see, you can see how it works. But yeah, it's always a challenge when someone says, well, mine doesn't look like yours. And it's not because it's wrong, it's just because it's different.
Right.
There's so many variables. Yeah, how for your beads, how tight you hold the paper and
right.
How thick you cut it.
Exactly. Well, and that's part of the beauty of handcrafted. I mean, if it looked exactly like every other one and everybody else's work, then why do it? Yeah, we'll just let machines do it all.
All right, so I feel like I have a color story coming up, and I do keep finding these pattern ones that I like. So
tell me what you mean by color story.
Oh, I don't really know what I mean by color story. That's a word that I hear. No, that's not true. Well, I mean, it kind of just means color combination.
Yeah. It speaks to you.
Yeah. Oh my God, you called me out. It's buzzwords. It's buzzwords. It's things they say on Project Runway. And
I think it means. I didn't mean to call you out. I think it means that it's telling a story though. It's building a color palette for you, right? That's kind of what I expected you to say, but
Sarah. That's what I'll say next time.
Yeah, next time we're ready for that question.
To pull up dictionary.
That's funny. It tells the story of the
story. Well, tell me, there's different color combinations, and for me, I tend to wear lots of blues and neutrals, but I'm very drawn to brights. So my color story might be something like this, and throw some greens in. And that's, I don't know, what does that story say? That story says summer. That story says loud.
Beachy.
That story says beachy.
And 80s.
And the 80s. Yes, let me throw in some of these sparkle ones there. There we go.
Although if you walk into, I walked into Target when they started with the summer clothes this year, and it was so 80s.
It really
80s is coming back this summer.
It really is. But then these are also brights, but they're a little more muted. Sort of they're cooler colors, like a cooler blue and a cooler red. That bright green adds something to it. So I don't know, that's more spring. I feel like I'm talking myself farther into the hole rather than out of it. So.
No, I think you got it. I think you nailed it.
Thanks.
Nailed it.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
One of the hashtags that I follow on Instagram is color palette. People will just post things. They're just this color combination looks good together, and I love that because I love seeing the things that I wouldn't put together myself. Be look at how well that works.
Yeah.
When I go to museums, I'm always taking photos of things if I'm allowed. Of course, never if I'm not allowed.
Never ever.
But sometimes there's just a combination in a painting or a collage. And I'm just look at those colors together. Those are amazing.
Yeah. And that's a good, there's apps you can get on your phone where you can take a picture and then it'll pull the palette out for you.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
What is this app?
I don't know. I'd have to go see, but I saw a commercial for one the other day. I'll have to go look and see what they are. But I made a mental note that I needed to go download it, but then I never did.
That's great.
Because I do it in Photoshop all the time. When I do my thumbnails for YouTube, because I have brand colors for my business, but when I do my YouTube thumbnails, I don't want to have colors that clash. I want the thumbnail to match the color in the jewelry that's in the picture.
Gotcha, yeah.
So I use the little color picker to pull out the colors from the jewelry to make the colors for my title in the thumbnail. So I think that's kind of neat.
I love that. There's one color palette that I got from a food truck.
Ah, a food truck.
Yeah, there's this food. It's a local food truck, and it was driving by me, and like the truck is sort of painted this. This is not going well. The truck is painted sort of a deep tealy blue, and then it had this sort of like coral orange and lighter turquoise and light blue on it. And I was obsessed. Like I actually like followed it until I could stop behind it at a light and then take a picture safely.
Oh,
but it was like
you're stalking the food truck for the color palette.
I was stalking the food truck for the color palette. So it was sort of like the truck was like a deep blue. It had this is more like it. It had like a turquoise accent, an orange accent, a lighter blue, and I think there was a pink. It might have been like a
that
very
sounds pretty.
corally, maybe a little bit deeper than this, but whatever it was, and maybe it was yellow. Now I'll have to go find the picture, but I think it might have been that with a pink. But anyway, I was like, I don't know why I never would have put those together.
Yeah.
But I really liked it. So, yep.
Inspiration is everywhere.
You know, I should create something and name it after the food truck.
Yeah, definitely.
And I feel like modern color palettes are ones where you're either, it's like almost all the rainbow colors minus one, or you've got a lot of pastels and like one neon, or you've sort of got a mixture of what people think of like different tones.
Yeah.
You just got something that's just a little bit weird. Like I definitely have gotten into like a yellow that's just a little too bright to look at, but to use it as an accent.
Yes. I know what you mean.
So you've probably covered this in your other live streams, but tell me about your start in crafting.
Oh, geez.
Did you start young?
I did. I've always been kind of the creative person. My grandmother, my dad's mom, she was a crocheter and a painter.
Oh.
And she taught me to crochet when I was 7. I actually haven't told this story, I don't think. So she actually passed away when I was very young. I was in 3rd grade, but I remember it. I must have been 7 years old. She lived in a high-rise apartment. And I remember when she first taught me to crochet, I crocheted a chain of bright red yarn. And she would not let me I wanted to make something, but she would not let me make anything until I mastered the chain.
Okay.
And so I crocheted a chain that hung down outside her sliding doors and down her patio, down 2 apartment levels. And I have no idea what the people under her thought about this red crochet chain hanging down their patios. But I was so proud of that crochet chain. I will never forget that. So I think most of my, well, I shouldn't say most. I should say a lot of my artistic talent and background come from her. My mom, though, is also very crafty. She dabbles, though, a lot. She, like me, she likes to switch it up. So she does embroidery. She does some stamping. She recently started stamping in the last few years. Sewing. She bought me my first sewing machine. So we tend to do, so she lives in a different state, but we craft together from afar.
Nice.
We tend to pick up the same crafts at the same time and then trade ideas over the phone. And when I travel up there, I take all my craft stuff and we do crafts together on my trips. So yeah, so it's kind of a family thing for us. And I've done my share of craft fairs and, all of that. So, yeah, it's always been a thing.
It's nice when the thing that you love to do can also be a job and then not be like a terrible job.
I know. And the thing is keeping it so it doesn't become work. Because did you know I was an opera major in college?
You were an opera major?
Yeah.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah. So when I was younger, I did crafts, but crafts weren't my thing. Music was my thing. I was an opera performance major. And I was 2 years in to opera performance, but I ended up switching majors because it turned into work. It's when the thing you love turns to work, then sometimes you lose the love of it. And that's kind of what happened for me. Plus, honestly, it wasn't really opera that I wanted to do. I really wanted to do Broadway, but I couldn't afford to go to a school that had a good musical theater program. The school I went to didn't have a musical theater program at all. they just had an opera program. And I did not have the wherewithal to, or the grades to go get a scholarship. So I ended up, after 2 years, switching my major and getting on the path of becoming a corporate trainer, which I don't regret. I think that also is sort of a calling for me, training and teaching.
Yeah.
And I think it lends to the videos that I do here with the paper beads, because I have a teaching background.
So do I.
Do you really?
Yeah, my degree is actually in early education, early childhood.
Oh, nice.
So crafting was always my background hobby, and I taught preschool for about 12 years.
Oh, wow.
Until it was time for me to not teach preschool anymore. And then I started teaching classes at Parks and Rec centers, like sewing and crafting and stuff. And that's kind of how I came to do this, to start this store, is because I was teaching these classes, and I loved doing it, but I didn't have very much control over scheduling, or when classes would get canceled, or that much option over what I could teach. So I just thought, how do I get that control? And eventually led to opening my own store with my business partner Taylor, who had wanted to open a fabric store. So we talked about opening like a fabric store and sewing studio, and then it just kind of expanded into an all crafts empire
nice.
that it is today.
That's
Speaking
awesome.
of which, it is almost 11 a.m. here, which means I need to open the store in a couple minutes. So, which is good because I'm almost done with this
Perfect
bracelet.
timing then.
Perfect timing. And then you and I are going to film a little chat for my YouTube channel.
Yeah. And so you're in your YouTube channel, so everybody can go and follow your new YouTube channel too. So is it Craft Habit?
It's Craft Habit Raleigh,
Okay.
which is Raleigh. That's the city where I am.
And once this goes processes and goes public, I'll put a link underneath. So if you want to come back to the replay, I'll put a link to Sarah's channel under there.
Yes. And we'll film, and I don't do live stuff on my channel anymore because it stresses me out. I'm not stressed out now because I'm just your guest.
Because it's my channel.
It's your channel, but my own live stuff. So we'll record it with you, and we'll post it a few weeks in the future. I think next week we're posting one. I did a video with my mom where we talked about when she taught me how to sew.
Oh, that's so nice.
I'm gonna post that. That'll post up this week, because this weekend is Mother's Day, right?
Yeah, it is.
It is. Will you clasp?
Oh, that's
clasp
gorgeous.
Me? So then we'll post a video with you probably the week after that, so it's up
nice.
before the class.
Okay, good.
And mine are just like 5-minute videos, so.
Yeah, but they're not hours long.
They're not an hour long. Sometimes they get to 8 minutes.
That
We're
looks
like,
great.
Nope. I'm excited about this.
I love it when you to chain beads. I did a few recently like that. I
Yeah.
just love that look.
Yeah, and I love how like they have a little bit of noise, and this is super lightweight. I wear a watch and I wear my rings, but honestly, other than that, I don't wear stuff on my arms very much. But like this, I think I could do because it's like barely there.
Yeah, it's tough for me because I'm on the computer all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
I take everything off when I'm typing.
Yeah. Here, I'm going to switch us back to the face cam so we can say goodbye to everybody.
Mm-hmm. And now you see my magically dry hair.
Her hair's
It was
dry.
wet and straight. Now it's dry and curly.
And there's the big old microphone. I had to move closer so you guys can hear us. The Yeti microphone.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. There we go. So let's show off all the jewelry pieces you made for us.
So I did this tassel necklace, and like I was saying with the leather, this has got to stretch out a little bit. But this little tassel necklace with the paper bead and a tassel from the shop, and then where do those earrings go?
I like those earrings.
I like these. You can put them in your shop if you want. So these little earrings.
Oh, yeah. We'll put these in the shop, and then we'll donate the proceeds to the Uplifted program.
Perfect.
You want to do that?
I love that. I love that. Yes.
Yeah. So if you want these, I'll put them up there later today, and then 70% of the proceeds of these will go to either a public school teacher that needs help with their classroom, or to an entrepreneur looking for a microloan. Yay! Right.
Awesome.
Yay! So bracelet and necklace.
Oh yeah, bracelet. Yeah, we can put that in the shop too. We can put all of it in the shop.
All right, cool. And I did some saucer beads, which I'll be doing a tutorial on later. And I also was just putting some grommets into the wide Euro beads, which are going to also go into bracelets, which will be available for sale on paperbeadrollers.com, which will also be in the Uplifted program. And proceeds will be donated as well. So that's it. So we're at Craft Habit Raleigh. This is Sarah Person.
Hi.
You can follow her at her YouTube channel, Craft Habit Raleigh, and website, crafthhabitraleigh.com.
We've got the Instagrams and the Facebooks.
All
and
Craft Habit
we're all
Raleigh.
there.
And thanks so much for showing us how to make some wonderful
This is
paper
lovely.
jewelry.
It was lovely to take an hour just to make crafts. Like,
I know.
that doesn't happen very much.
And just sitting with friends and chatting and doing, I mean, that's why I started the show. So
Love it.
And thanks for hanging out. Let's just check the chat real quick. Thanks for hanging out with us, you guys. And I don't see anything else in the chat. Let me do a quick refresh just to make sure. But thanks for hanging out with us. I'm sorry that we had a couple technical difficulties. But you guys take care. Have a wonderful week. And we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.